Okay, I thought I'd welcome you back just for a few minutes here before I let some epoxy set up on this car till tomorrow, and discuss a little bit more. I've got to get over to the other shops. I've got an engine I got to get pulled out here out of one car that I'm working on, and help out with some other stuff. Anyway, what we're doing here is, at this point, we're just doing a little bit of epoxy primer buildup for a little bit of body work that was completed. We want to get all the scratches out. Oh, we got paint guns for everything here. We're going to just quickly try to get this. There we go. Get some epoxy mixed up here and get it on this car so I can set. We're just a few days away from spraying this. I'm guessing Eldorados I gotta get working on. All waxed and out of gun. Everything you do in this line of work is very important. Cleanliness, perfection, making sure that you do not mix chemicals, things of that sort. I'm going to use some True Finish epoxy primer. It's a 4-to-1 mix. It's an excellent buildup. This primer, I love this primer. It's a urethane primer. I love this primer because of its ability to sand. It's just like sanding butter. So it's one of my favorites. Not bad for about $1.25 a gallon. Mixed up real quick. We'll get this on this car. Woo, this is some powerful stuff. So basically, you see, we just have some stuff covered up so we don't get this epoxy on certain parts of the car. We're gonna move a cord here. A very large exhaust fan we have right here. This just kind of sucks some of this primer, urethane primer, out of the air because it's pretty intense stuff, and it'll blow it right out the door. So hopefully this doesn't get too loud for the video. Set it right in front of the car so it'll suck it out, keep it from landing on the windshield. Well, I'll just try to talk a little bit louder for you. I tell you, it's days like this when you're working on a beautiful Cadillac, you're bringing something really awesome to life. Not going back to original by no means. This car is absolutely changing to a beautiful flat satin finish. So this is a real quick mixture. We'll try to mix enough we think we're going to use for this. About right there. Just kind of figure out how much I'm going to use on the car, and what I try to do is hopefully run out. I don't want any waste. want any waste coming out of this. So I like to try to get all this product on the car, and so it's real important that you don't make too much, especially at the prices these days. These chemicals are really expensive. Get all this hardener mixed up in here. So back here is where we talked earlier. This has already been repaired. It's been blocked. We got one more time of building up a little bit of primer so we can hand block it into perfection. This right here is the body work that we hadn't got to yet, and it was a little bit more stretched area, so we weren't able to do a dentless repair on it. But just a very, very little amount of buildup there to correct that and block it out. So we're going to build that up real good with this at this point. And then this right here we'll do a guide coat, and then we'll block this. And this right here will have to have some more primer build up here tomorrow. There's one thing about this is people always want to jump the gun. And when you're doing something like this, to a car like this, some things take time. So that overhaul and stuff where it happens in a week, it's kind of a joke. If you were to, do something like that and see it at the end, a guy like me would walk through and pick out a nightmare of disasters. But in something like this, you really got to take your time. So this particular epoxy primer, we're going to put on here, we're going to allow it to cure. That way we don't have any buildup on the sandpaper, and it'll sound like butter when it's that cured. So we just put it on and we walk away. That's why I tell people, walk away. It's kind of like when you paint a car. When we paint this car, we'll leave it in the booth overnight. We're not going to try unmasking it. But people are so excited, they want to get right back in there as soon as possible and unmask it, and that could be absolutely disastrous. So this looks good. Go ahead and get this on the car. These are just different stages of the job itself. That way you kind of get some insight. Get it feel like you've been here. Give Steve an opportunity to see what's going on with his car. So we're just going to put all of that in the cup. But basically just try to use every bit of it. Very expensive product, but if you want a job done right, you got to buy the right material, no matter what the cost. So if you do want to be smart enough to know how to save your material and only use what you need. So if I have my computer, we have laptops all over the shop. That's how we're able to keep tabs on anybody trying to get a hold of us. Put that over the top of that. Definitely don't want to breathe urethane. Very, very deadly, very damaging chemicals. So we always try to put that out there. Now, spraying primer right now, urethane, but when I'm in the booth spraying, I wouldn't look like this. It would be completely closed, which you'll see. But for this, it's going to quickly be sucked out of here, so I'm not too worried about that. Let's get you over here on the car. Okay, so spraying that out of that gun right now. We do have a very high-tech drying system. I'm not sure at the moment what you just seen come out of here. It appears to be a particle. Make sure it's not water that came out of the line. Sometimes that can happen. Even with a good drying system, that sort of thing can happen. So you don't want to just keep going there. You see something like that, you need to correct the problem as fast as you can. What I'm going to do just to assure. It's really hard to tell exactly what we got there, so you know these dryers are expensive, but we can care absolutely less the cost, because it costs you a whole lot more money if you don't take that route. Usually I'm not getting anything out of it, so I don't think we had a water issue there. But regardless, since we're doing it, we're going to put a brand new dryer on it anyway, just for GP. We have what they call a stealth system over there. We don't really ever have a water issue, but never want to take that risk. So I was very carefully with a microfiber cloth. Before I got that too thick, I was able to pull those particles out of there. They seem to have made their way into my gun. And I'll keep my guns really clean. We got a gun for everything. And this gun is only designed for a couple issues, but this is designed for me, just for epoxy primer buildup. Of the building. Can't never be too technical, and you certainly can never be more cautious than what you do when it comes to this line of work. So go ahead and get you on this side. You get an opportunity to see how this goes on. You'll really love being inside the paint booth with me when we've laid the paint down on this jewel. Okay, so we're doing the same thing on this side. We're going to build this up. And put a couple of coats on the most drastic areas. This area here has already been done once. And up here as well. So we're on our last epoxy primer buildup on this side. Let's see if we have enough. Okay, so very quickly there, we almost made it with that. So we're gonna go over here and discuss this a little bit. Some of you probably say, why are you being so cautious about everything in there? And this is just primer. A little more than just primer. Maybe I'll double strain that. Not sure why we got those little particles in there, because we have a very clean system. We'll set this aside and use a cleaning bucket. Get some lacquer thinner inside of this one. The most time-consuming part of all this work is just constantly keeping things as clean as possible. So we'll save these buckets since we've got a lot of them, but use them up so quick. I try to clean them out and reuse them a few times, especially with primer, because they can really waste a painter's good set of buckets. You can see there's plenty of buckets up here. That's not the issue, so we'll see if we can get that off there. Let that sit. And start out fresh here. Go ahead and mix my next batch. It's all 4-to-1. Mix use 6 on 8 last time. We're just going to empty the rest of this here onto the car to where we were working, and then we're going to turn our attention to where we were at and do a double coat on places we know needed more blocking. We'll apply a guide coat, and then we will walk away from this until tomorrow, where we will begin blocking this out and see what we have left. We should only have one spot left right there that we're going to have to build up one more time. The rest of it should be finished, and we'll be moving on shortly over to the paint booth. The paint job is only as good as its prep job. So as much as it feels tedious and frustrating that you're not done, let's bring it back over here. You can watch the remaining part of this. Okay, so we basically got all that covered. I got practically nothing left in here. Just a little bit. And what we're going to do is, in this spot here that's got the freshness of the bodywork, which is what's left, let that set up for a moment. I will spray the remaining balance of that on that spot, and we'll be good to go. Give it a couple of minutes for that to set up. Now, here's a vital part of this. As we slowly hand block this stuff, we apply what's called a guide coat. We use a dull black primer, so it stands right off with a very fine mist. So don't get a lot of splotches on our fresh work. What we do is just do a slight mist like this over the fresh primer. And this will guide us in our finished blocking of these spots. Beautiful. I'm going to touch that spot there until I finish loading it up. I like to make sure it gets covered completely, Jim, because I really rely on this guide coat. The next time I go to block this out, I'll explain that and give you a first-hand look at that, how that works, and you'll realize just how important this guide coat is. This car is really going to come out nice. Love a fine prep job. Really love watching this stuff come alive. So that should do it for that side. We'll real quickly go ahead and burn this out. That was the end of it right there. I cut it any closer than that. They get some guide coat up there too. Alright, so you watched how we were able to take the atmosphere and suck it out of here so that epoxy primer wouldn't never make it to the windshield, which you can. It didn't. I could see that. And we've only masked off enough areas to limit the areas that we wanted to spray primer. So even though we might have a line here that goes away, we're not spraying directly up the inside tape edge. That's just to block some areas off, just to make it quick and easy and try to get past that point. So at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to let that cure overnight. Guide coat this and that. We're going to walk away from this. Tomorrow we'll strip it of its masking paper and tape that's on it, and I will show you how this guide coat helps me block that out to a precision flatness. And I think we'll just have a couple more spots. We got the front bumper I want to work. A couple of tiny spots that I just filled earlier on top of the front of the roof. And we're getting awful close at this point. So hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, enjoy your day.